Hello, this is Rosa Granados, and today's topic is about tuition being too expensive. Especially during this year, 2018, we're having so many issues from so many students from the low income families are having a very hard time seeking resources to be able to pay for their tuition. Why is American higher education so expensive? American higher education is too expensive. The most challenging part is not having a solution or assistance in funding for a college education for those that cannot afford it. Many individuals are facing obstacles in paying for their college tuition. As a result, they need to search for a full-time job or get a private loan with a higher interest that could take years and years to pay it off. And that happens to be one of my cases. Financial aid should be intended to make college available to those students that come from different financial situations. College financial aid officers should consider family income, the number of family members in college, medical expenses, and many other factors when reviewing a college application for financial assistance. And this is actually a very hot topic. In continuance, so what are the things that tuition could cover within the higher education facilities? One of the things is obviously is the building facilities, the dining hall, the dorms, food. Other amenities include professional grade athletic and fitness facilities. And number two, students benefit greatly from all the extra support, but it requires scores of additional pay step positions. So that means teachers or the professors or their assistant professors and even the admins in the office need to be increased for additional work. And third one, who is among the best institutions in the country? That means more students want to attend, and that means that the difficult for the following year it will become for the next generations. In other words, there's like a competition between higher education or higher institutions. Who wants to be the best? Who wants to be among the top 10 in the country? In the minds of the most of the country's top performing high school students, and more importantly, their parents, the prestige of attending an Ivy League institution more than outweighs the extra cost. So, in other words, students nowadays, instead of choosing the correct field or the correct career where they're intended to head, they're looking for the name of institution or the brand. It's like nowadays about fashion. Certain people want to wear a Nike in comparison to Louis Vuitton. And when public funding dries up, colleges have some very difficult choices to make because they can cut operating costs by dropping faculty, reducing enrollment, or skipping on some of their much loved amenities, or they can raise tuition to make up the difference. So, as you guys can see in here, tuition within the higher institutions affect the building, the administrative team, the college rankings, who wants to be in the top list, and which is obviously the competition, and as a result, because they're focused on these top four ones, as a result of their administration, it could affect the public funding cuts. So now we move. First, which school have the best faculties for research? Second, technology has changed drastic over the last 10 years. 3. The typical American college operates under the principle of shared governance, under which the various schools and departments each have their own deans and department heads that coordinate with a central authority or top level deans, the president and the board of trustees, but often those separated in titles don't share the same priorities. The board of trustees might want to cut an expensive program, but the faculty and academic deans would argue the importance of the program to research and attracting grant money. Cool stuff, huh? So, as you can see, we have a graph here that was taken from CNNBC, which obviously you guys know this whole presentation has a full credits, a full list of credits in the last slide. So none of this is actually intended for myself. All this has been taken from people that has been sharing this. So as you can see, here is a college price inflation, and then we move on to one tactic is tuition discounting. That means they have a stated tuition, say 50,000, but they in aggregate discount by 50%, meaning they collect only an average of 25,000. They make incoming students and their parents feel good about saying, we like you so much, we're giving you a 50% scholarship. So in other words, it's like when you go shopping, which is a scheme. You go shopping, they will say the pair of shoes are on sale 50%, and the original price is $100, and now it's $49.99. So they're saying that you're paying half of a price, when in reality the price of the shoe is what, $25, and they're just making you pay extra. And that's how this when it comes to higher education. As you can see, we have drinking subsidies. Here's a bar that kind of gives you a little more details on it too. So hopefully you can kind of look at the different things in here, how it affects the bachelor's to the master's and the research, the endowment per student, and the doctors, the bachelor's and the master's within distribution. So as you could kind of see, I don't have a pen here. No, actually, yes, I did, which is right here. As you can see that those are the things. So you might want to always kind of focus on that too. Moving on. So over the last few decades, the amount of aid available to students has increased dramatically. Subsidizing loans were expanded, while on subsidizing loan program made its debut. But looking at the big picture, does that money always offset the cost to students? No. The researchers say no. Instead, colleges increase tuition even more, because they know financial aid can cover the difference. Student aid may cover more of students' tuition, but if the aid wasn't available, tuition might not have gone up in the first place. That doesn't mean colleges never use federal aid to their advantage, especially at private colleges. Feldman say federal aid may replace existing scholarships. Take a student who will have gotten $20,000 from a college. If she gets an extra $1,000 in Pell Grants, she may get $19,000 from her college instead. The student pays the same, but the college pays less. In other words, guys, tuition will continue getting higher, and I think the only people who make a difference will be politics. If whoever comes into a new administration, either the current or the next one, or the following one, we're hoping and we're praying for student forgiveness, but we're also asking the government that it's only fair that in order for us to have an educated society in the country, which is one of the most powerful countries in the world, is to have our citizens educated. And one of the ways to get the citizens educated is by providing free tuition. What do you guys? Which is a fact, actually. As you could kind of see, I have a little statistical report in here. So maybe perhaps you could take a few seconds on it and just kind of read it. Despite very significant real increases in tuition over the last 20 years, net tuition, which is tuition less all scholarships and grants received by students, has actually declined in real dollars over this period of time at public two-year institutions, and only increased 15% in private institutions. It has increased about 67% at public four-year institution, which is slightly higher than the increase in the published price, due in large part to the decrease in state support per student for these colleges and universities. So guys, I am telling you right now, and you can next slides from Forbes.com, how he states that I know I don't want to kind of read it too much because we don't have a lot of time right now, which makes me want to kind of wrap it up. But Like on the first sentence, it says, despite very significant real increases in tuition over the last 20 years, net tuition, which is tuition less all scholarships grants received by students, has actually declined in real dollars over this period of time at public two-year institution and only increased 15% in private institution. In other words, the last 20 years has dramatically increased tuition. Very, very, very high. Can you imagine what the next 20 years is? So we're hoping and praying that his interesting video here. I'm not sure if you kind of take your time on it to watch the video in here, which is very important because he actually talks about how college loans exploit students for profit. So you might want to kind of look him up from TED. His name is Sajad Samuel. How college loans exploit students for profit. So help yourself. And this will conclude my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation and it's been very helpful. If you would like to go back and watch the whole presentation, feel free to mute my voice on it. Thank you so much, and may the Lord be with you.